Hey, so hey, okay. So Cindy, just to double check because I can't see Facebook, I'm just looking at my presentation. So I'm just going to go for it. Do you know if
Yes,
we have
you,
people joined?
well, we have 11 attendees
Okay.
on Zoom here,
Oh,
and
awesome.
I will tell you, and we do have people watching on Facebook. I'm just trying to get to it right now.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll get started. I think 11 is an awesome number of folks to come. So hey, everybody, happy Friday. Um, Before we get into the material and things like that, I wanted to share this image with you guys and then kind of ask, and if you can share in the chat, let me just see here. Hold on. Why can't I see my chat? Okay. Well, I'm having trouble here, but what I really, yeah, Cindy, I don't know why I can't see.
If you if you click on the chat button on the
Oh, here we
bottom, you'll
go.
see the chat.
Yeah, I lost the, maybe it's just slow. Here we go. Okay, I've got my chat back. Okay. All right, so we're going to start now. All right, so guys, I wanted to share this picture up here before we get started and kind of just get your feedback on what is going on with this picture. What are some things you can observe with what's going on here? Yeah, so from M, yeah, this is such an amazing image. I love it. Yeah, change happening without noticing. Okay, that is definitely one way to look at it. Anyone else see anything different?
Those that are watching on Facebook, go ahead and post a comment underneath if you'd like, if you see something different, and we'll share. I can share it.
Yeah, the newspaper is definitely upside down. Yeah, staying in a place too small, growing, right? Outgrowing the chair, outgrowing the place. Yeah, she's kind of stable. She kind of looks maybe she's comfortable in that place. Yeah, so this is great feedback, great observations. But when I first saw this picture, I found it about a year ago. I'm kind of looking at the direction of where her head is going, and the first indication I thought was that maybe she was waiting for some help, like maybe for like mom or dad or someone to recognize that, hey, I need some help here. This chair is too small, and why are you handing me an upside down newspaper, right? So, maybe she's unaware that she's outgrown the chair, or maybe she's just waiting for, someone to help her. Or, sometimes we want to be rescued from the outgrown chair or from the uncomfortable space. So cool. Thank you guys for that. So, why did I put this picture here? Well, obviously, we're going to be talking a lot about change, right? So let me just get to the note. Okay, why? Okay, yeah. So that's life, right? So change is life and life is change. And basically, it's happening no matter what we do. We can't stop it, right? Our bodies are changing, obviously, here. We can see this, like we see this every day. As our kids grow, as our environments change, our work change, our work environments change, the world is changing. Relationships, right? They go through their ebbs and flows. People change, right? People grow. Some people stay the same. Sometimes people disappear. People come in and out. And the universe at large, it's changing, right? So if you are a regular attendee to this show, you've probably heard a lot about that from a lot of the different hosts, and especially from Karen. And if you're a newbie here, welcome. So if we want change, if we want to learn how to handle change or how to direct change in a more peaceful way, we actually can control our experience, right? So we have to decide, do we want to continue to, unconsciously follow what we've been doing before, hope for a miracle that someone's going to give us a new chair or something's going to show up and fix things for us? Or are we ready to explore the possibility that, we can create our own miracles, right? And that we're in charge of our destiny. We can fulfill our dreams. We can find that chair. So if you are ready, grab a pen and paper and stick around, and we're going to keep going and figure this out. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, so welcome to this week's Quantum Alignment Show. So you are in the right place. If you are looking for some tips or to have a discussion around how to create the life you desire through making purposeful change. Today is the 28th, and I'm really happy to be here. My name is Tina Rusnak. I don't want to go too much into my bio, but I've been studying and mentoring with Karen in the community for, it's got to be 6 years now. In general, I've been in corporate for a while doing coaching, lots of team and leadership, management positions, a little bit of an entrepreneur. And so I'm just really excited to be here today to share this with you guys. And with that being said, my goals for today is to actually bring kind of a new perspective on change, right? So a couple of things that are coming up is 2020. So it's going to be here soon. And I don't know about you guys, but the last couple of years have really kicked my butt. So I am going to be making some very specific efforts and plans and getting prepared to make 2020 absolutely fabulous, no matter what shows up for me, no matter what change comes or what shows up on my doorstep. I am planning on being ready for it. So, in general, what are you guys up to? So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about some of the reasons why we resist change, right? What are some of the things going on inside of us that stop us? We're going to look at a 4-step process where we can create change on purpose, right? Get control and create that life that we really want. We'll talk through some practical tips that we can do every day to help us move forward. And then at the end, we'll just talk through a few options if you are looking to get more support or for some resources that you can use on your own, or if you're looking for a community or for some one-on-one help. So what brought you guys to the session today? If you guys can just, put some comments in the chat or in Facebook, just let me know what you guys are looking for today. And if we have time, I'll make sure we cover it. If not, I will definitely make sure that, I get all the comments in the chat, and I will definitely follow up with you. But what was interesting about, the prompt, and the announcement to get you here today? And I'll just give a chance. So share with me a few reasons why you guys came to the session. I'm just curious about, what brought you here. Change. Hey, Janet, so good that you're here. Yeah, in between jobs, lots of change. I know, I gotcha. Some inspiration, maybe another perspective. Awesome. I feel stuck in my change. I hear you, Athena. Not sure. I thought it was just part of the class I signed up for. Yes, so Scott, you're in the right place because you are. You're here, so that means you're in the right place. Kenzie, you felt so aligned to get that email this morning. I have new opportunities coming from my own dreams, but I spent the last week slipping into bad habits to keep me small. Oh yeah, so I'm so glad you're here, Kenzie. So, this is, and no one should feel, we're going to talk about this. Ready to make changes and would love guidance. Awesome. Thank you so much, Marianne. Yeah, so.
We had one comment on Facebook from Corinne saying it's a human design class, or might have human design.
Yes, if you're a human design student, or you're within the quantum alignment training, if you're a part of any of Karen's classes or courses, you're of course more than welcome to be here today. I'm so glad you joined. So yeah, just hang in there, and we're gonna use the chat, and then I've asked Cindy to keep me on track with the time, and so if we at 1:45, we'll open it up for comments, and we can actually have like conversation. So thank you guys. Let's see if there's anything else. How to get to change when life itself is so overwhelming and confusing. Yeah, a tornado. Like making insurance or problem solving calls over and over, solving them. On the later parts of life, my values have shifted. I do want to accomplish things, but I'm more about using life usefully and doing my good while also earning. Yeah. Okay, Carol, I can definitely relate to that. You know, and I'll share a few stories. Again, I want to be really wary of the time. But yeah, personally for me, I'm going to be hitting the 50-year mark. I can't believe it, in a few months. And the last couple of years have been really challenging for me, really similar to the things that you've, you know, talked about, the overwhelm. And I have young kids. I'm not sure where you are in your life, but we're going to talk through some steps where you can kind of gain control. And again, it's going to take, like I said in the email, it does take a bit of a commitment. You know when you're ready, right? If you're here, you're ready. You're looking for some help or for some tips. So I think we're going to be able to give you some of that, Carol. And then the last thing I'll share from Kenzie, felt perfect. The email said, we think we have to be in the perfect place to start. Yeah. Yeah, that's always my thought. Yeah, I've been there too, and I'm done with that. So actually, you'll see, a couple of you guys might know me, and usually, and in my old identity, you know, my slides always had to be perfect, and everything had to be just right. And today, it's not quite like that, and I don't really care, because you're going to get the value you need anyway. Okay, so we're going to save the chat. So Cindy, we can save the chat, right? So people can see it?
Yes, I can post the chat. Well, the chat there.
Okay, awesome.
Or their replay will be up on Facebook, actually, about 10
cool.
minutes after it's done.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, make less complicated, focus, less distractions.
Gabriella on Facebook said, generator here, starting my own business versus wanting to respond. How do you deal with this?
Okay, well, let's, you know, so technically today I'm going to try and keep it, because I know we have some new people who are not familiar with human design or the quantum alignment system. So I wanted to keep today a little bit neutral. So let's save that question maybe like for the end. So as we go through the material, let's see how it applies to being a generator, starting your own business. For those of you that are with human design, I am a manifesting generator. I'm a 1-3. I've got the 3420, so I've actually learned a lot with that, how to be in the now, how to focus on what's really important so that I can, you know, create the changes I really want instead of being all over the place. I also have the 4323. One thing that I know a lot of folks who trust my coaching and my teaching, you know, I don't share anything unless I've tested it, experimented with it, and, you know, tested it to death. So everything that I'm going to talk about today, I have lived it, or science has proved it. So I'll just share that going forward. All right, so let's get going, because I don't want to run out of time. Moving to the countryside. Ooh, yeah, it's on my list too, or by the beach. All right, so right now, if you grab a pen and paper, just write down. I know some of you guys have shared that, but we're going to go through an exercise, so I kind of want you guys to get this written down. Just write down one example of a change that you've been challenged with achieving, right? So if you shared it in the chat, just add that onto a sheet of paper. Okay, I want you guys to have it, you know, with you. All right, so I'll give you a second to do that. And then as you're writing that down, I also want you to think about, you know, how long, right? So when did you get this idea to, you know, move to the countryside? How long have you had that dream, right? Or, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be something like I want to be a speaker, I want to start my own business. It could just be something that, you know, I want to, you know, lose 10 pounds, or, you know, it doesn't have to be a big change, but something that you've been challenged with, right? How long have you been trying to get that done? How long have you been trying to accomplish that? And as you think about it, you know, what are some of the emotions that you feel, right? So this is part of the thing we're going to talk about, which is, you know, really starting to pay attention to when we do have change or the things we want to do, and it's taking us a while, we have to really start paying attention to the emotions that come up, right? So think about what's that one thing you've been challenged with, how long, and then kind of immediately think of what's the first thing you kind of feel when you think about that. And then also, you know, take a few seconds, and you may have to, you know, do this a couple times. I'll give you another minute. think about and notice, where is it in your body, right? So oftentimes you'll hear people, and they're frustrated with something, or they haven't been able to get something done, or, someone else is frustrating them, you'll have an emotion, and then you'll usually feel it's somewhere in your body, right? Is it in your head? Is it in your chest? Do you feel it in your neck? It could be anywhere, in your gut. Do your nerves, could even be a nervous reaction. Does your eye twitch? Something like that. So, hopefully I think you guys have that down. I want to kind of move forward. So just have that written down. We're going to get back to it, and I want to get into the content now. Okay. All right. So what do you guys think? So why do we often fail to make these changes that we really want? What do you got? Put some things in the chat, or, what are some reasons why you think maybe you're not making the changes, or that people in general, what are some reasons why we don't take action to do these things that we want, to take the actions that are going to get us to where we want to go? Yeah, Janet. Just get to the root of it. That's just like you. Awesome. Anyone else? I'm so sorry to hear about that, Liz. Okay, you feel it in your back. Okay, I'm not sure what are the appropriate actions. Okay, all right, hold on to that, Liz. Fear and overwhelm. Yeah, overwhelm, definitely. Right, we don't know where to start. We don't know if we can do it. Yeah, survival, right? If I make this change, what's going to happen, right? We don't know what's on the other side. Yeah, we fear the unknown. Awesome. Terror of a new living situation. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Cindy, anything on Facebook?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. So I think you guys really got to the heart. Yeah. You can't focus, too much going on. All right. Yeah. So I just have a slide here that's got some added things, but I think you guys really, you don't know how to do some things, lack of clarity. Kelly, Nina, Mary, and Carol. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for participating in the chat, right? Yeah, so often we think, or we believe, we have these beliefs that, we don't have the right skill, we don't have the right talent, the resources or support. Someone already mentioned we have to wait for things to be perfect. We don't have that clarity. And I struggled with this next one, right, where you don't believe, where you can have what you want, right? We're missing that, and that will definitely stop us. We're going to see that. We're going to see how in a second. We don't know where to start or what to do, right? So then, you guys know what happened, right? We don't take action, and then we wait. And the longer we wait, the more emotions we feel, possibly the more sick we can get, or the more those pains or those reactions in our body we might feel, right? And then it begins to loop, right? And that's where, we can get into trouble with burnout, with, stress, affecting our health, our work, relationships, right? And all because we have these thoughts or beliefs that we can't get this done, and we have these fears. So where does this whole fear thing come from, right? Right. So in our ego mind, we may be thinking those things, right? That we're not enough, or, we don't have the skill. How am I going to do it? We don't know where to start. But subconsciously, right, we've got that other old programming going, right? So first of all, we've got our old reptilian brain, which is always seeking to find, familiar patterns to keep us safe and secure, right? So it's actually not a bad thing. It does have good intentions, right? So for example, moving to that new location, right? Just picking up and moving, maybe there's no one there that we know, like, we're going to be alone. So that reptilian brain will come up and say, hey, this is not a safe thing. It may not be secure, right? So it's looking out for you, right? But what's the real reality, right? And then the second part of this is that, unfortunately or fortunately, most of us were taught and conditioned, again, by people with good intentions, like our parents, our teachers, to be fearful. And when I first came to this awareness and realization, I thought about my son. He's 23 now, but I've got, for HD people, I also have the channel of struggle, and the whole defense circuit. So for me, it's all about security and protecting the kids, and I can't remember how many times I would tell him, be careful, be careful, be careful, and he's like, I'm going out to ride my bike. And I'm like, he's like, just let the kid have fun, right? But, my younger daughters, they don't get that so much, right? But what scientists and Karen has gone through this, and we've talked a lot about it on the show, how, the conditioning not just affects, our subconscious, but it also is within our genetics, right? So from generation to generation, we're carrying around, these different types of, fear-based conditions, right? And also between the ages of 0 and 7, and some folks will even say even, preconception, that we're already born, again, with the genetics, with a core set of beliefs, right? So when we're born into the world, we basically have a clean slate, and the people who are around us are kind of setting our, baseline of our reality. And then over time, as we're living our life, right? So I think it's like 90 to 95% of how we live and the things we do throughout the day, is completely unconscious, right? So who's in charge, right? So when I talk about or mention, creating change on purpose, it's really going to be about, getting to that, recognizing, right, that, you want to be in charge of your life and get out of that, being in, trance and start taking action and seeing what's real and create your own world. And as humans, we're not made to remain static like that girl in the chair. She's going to grow out of that chair. And whether someone comes and brings her another one or she just gets up and walks away, you have to make that decision. Okay. All right, so we're back to this emotion thing, right? So we have this change we want to achieve. We've been trying to do it for a while. So we have these thoughts or beliefs in our mind. We have these subconscious programs running. And all of that is affecting our emotions. It affects our bodies. And again, that loop cycle is going. It's always going, right? So this is where I like to call it the mind, body, emotion connection. And I have a link here to the Heart Math Institute. So again, if you're familiar with Karen, a lot of Karen's work and the Quantum Alignment Show, we have gone over this before, so this might be a little bit of a repeat. But basically, if you haven't seen this or if you're new, the image that you're seeing right here is a person, right? And this is actually, if you've heard of the law of attraction, this is actually the holographic image of our energy patterns and how we attract our reality. So, some people will call it the matrix, but I love this picture because it shows how, and it's been proven, so with the quantum physics, quantum mechanics, with all the neuroscience and all the cool things that have been coming out the last few years, that our thoughts are energy. When we have a thought, I love how Karen first described it as this, every time you have a thought, there's a photon of light exploding in your head, and it's moving out into the field around us. And with the Heart Math Institute, with all their work has been around how our heart acts like that magnet. So when you have a thought, it's going to automatically trigger a feeling, and you get into these, thought feeling loops. These become thought patterns, thought habits. Our positive thoughts, right? When we, those can be really, propel us forward. But when we're trying to make change and we have these negative beliefs like we're not enough or the fear comes up, if we're constantly thinking about the fear, I can't do it, then we're constantly sending out the signal into the field that this is my reality, and that's what shows up for you. So I'm just gonna pause here, just looking to see if there's any comments or more questions about the heart math, or if you haven't seen this before. But, probably about, 15 years ago or whenever I first became aware of the law of attraction and things like that, like I said, I have to experiment. I got to play with things. And over the years, the science has proven these things to be true. And when you go out and experiment with this for yourself, and you see the results, it's quite amazing. And so this is where we're going to talk more about how you can do things on purpose, right? So any comments or questions on this? Are people, if you're aligned with this or you've heard this before, just, put a yes or any questions in the chat. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Right, so if you are new, I did add a slide in here that talks about some of the discoveries that the HeartMath Institute has made. And so, a couple of years ago, this is something that I didn't learn, and that's why I'm so grateful to be in the community. I've learned so much, but the heart generating the largest electromagnetic field in the body, right? So again, it acts as the magnet, right? So when you have the thought that creates the feeling, it gets magnetized in the heart, and that's what's brought back to you. That's how your experience is made. Okay, let's go here. What's going on? Sorry, I'm stuck. Okay, here we go. So here's an example of like a destructive thought pattern. And I'm sure you guys can think of, some other examples as well. And so I'd love for you to share those in the chat too, right? But often we mistake these thought patterns as being like part of our identity, right? We believe these thoughts that that's who we are and that this is the way it is. And I know maybe Janet can relate to this, I work with Janet in corporate through a lot of change with teams and leaderships. And, usually it's a lot of resistance around, no, we can't change, or no, that's, it's always been this way. I know these guys are never going to go for it. Right. So what we've learned and what we've seen through, again, the quantum physics, the neuroscience, all the ancient wisdom that we've collected, so many experiences and testimonies that we can create and change our life by changing our thoughts, our feelings, and that will move us through and to where we want to be, right? So an example I have here is, do you procrastinate or are you a procrastinator? Can you guys see the difference here, right? So I can say that, I procrastinated in getting my slides ready for the show today, right? Or, I procrastinate going to the gym. So that's a very specific, I'm not identifying with being a procrastinator. If I was to believe that I was a procrastinator, there would probably be more things on my list that I'm not getting done, right? So maybe I pick my kids up late, dinner's always late. I don't identify with being a procrastinator, but that doesn't mean that, I may procrastinate, here and there or for certain things. Does that make sense? Do you guys have another example, or does someone want to share like maybe a destructive thought pattern that you have that you want to change? Or maybe someone who used to have destructive thought patterns, but actually was able to change it. Okay, from Nina, a negative emotion will keep me from taking action. Yes, any label seems to block me to the point where I have having a name is a problem for me, and I want to be incognito to avoid being seen and boxed in. Okay, gotcha. I am tired is what I've been saying lately. Okay, Athena. Yeah, so, if it's a matter of, depending on what that change is or what your experience has been up until now, if you've been pushing, maybe trying to change things that really aren't meant for you. That was a big shift that I had to make, whose life am I living? Am I really being true to the things that I want to change and the life that I want to live? And once I started to recognize that, that's not me, that's not what I want, and started to refocus, a lot of my burnout healed. I stopped doing so many things that were not for me, and I got a lot of my power and energy back. What's the point is the destructive pattern, thinking think of our global warming scenario. Yeah, labeling yourself. So labeling is really cool. Yesterday I had a session with an awesome girl that I mentor, and we were talking about values and change and how do you know when you get something, right? So the topic of respect came up, right? So, you know, imagine you're a couple, right? And one of your values in your relationship is you both have this value of respect, right? So your partner and yourself really value to be respected in a relationship. So the question is that I brought up to her was, well, how do you know when you're being respected? And her answer was different than her partner's. Okay. So her version of being respected was that, you know, when he or she wants to share something truthful with her, that, you know, she's sensitive. So she likes to be, you know, she doesn't want to be, you know, bullied or, you know, yelled at, that kind of thing. She, you know, but on the other hand, her partner was looking for more direct, to the point, you know I'm respected when you just tell me the truth. You just let me know and then I'll deal with it. And so labels can create lots of miscommunication, right? So it's interesting that this came up again, right? So yeah, if you identify with a label, you're going to get the more you do that, the more you're going to be stuck in it, and the more that's going to be your experience. Okay. Yeah. So what we want to do is decide on purpose to choose, you know, to choose empowering, positive thought patterns, right? So, right. So we're going to walk through the 4 steps in a second, right? And you can even see this when you observe other people, right? You know, my mom is a good example, and I can talk about her because I told her I was going to, but basically, you know, she has, for as long as I've known her, my whole life, you know, complaining about health. There's always some kind of health issue. She's always got this going on and this and the doctor for this and the doctor for that. And, you know, she's like, when's the last time you went to the doctor? I'm like, I don't need to go to the doctor. I'm fine. Well, what about this? And what about that? I'm like, I don't identify with having to go to the doctor because I'm 48. And, you know, she's a little tough one to change, but she has identified with, you know, and it's been her experience and her conditioning that, you know, as you get older, you're going to get sick. You have to go to the doctor. You have to go look for these things, right? But you don't have to. You can decide to choose and create the life that you want to have. And it does seem rather simple, but in a way it is, right? Because in a second, in a moment, you can change your perspective. All right, so let me do, I need to do a time check. Where are we? Okay, we're okay. All right, so 4 steps to being more purposeful. Okay, so we've done a little bit of this already. Like, so step 1 is to recognize and acknowledge, right? Like what's going on, okay? So you guys kind of already wrote down, you know, what's happening, right? So recognizing where the problem is, right? So there's this thing I want to change, and really digging into, like, why am I not changing it? Why am I stuck? What are the negative things that are coming up? What are the fearful thoughts that are coming up? So it's really, I really do believe in, you know, the journaling and writing it out or speaking it. Speaking it is even better if you could speak it out loud to someone or to yourself, or even if you're alone, just to speak the words out loud or to write it down. Right? So if you're really ready for change, we have to really look and dive deep into, like, what's going on? What is all this negative self-talk that we're having? And especially if it's coming up like in the moment, right? So let's say you're just going about your day and then all of a sudden you kind of triggered and remembered, man, I really need to change this, you know, this has got to stop. You know, that's the time to really take a minute and, you know, acknowledge what's going on. Like, where is this coming from? So some of the things or other thought patterns, you know, that you might have heard or you might have experienced yourself, you know, that, you know, nothing good ever happens. I'm not going to get the job. Nobody likes me. I don't like them either, you know. And a lot of us know, you know, folks like that. Or when we make assumptions about others. So this actually was a big learning for me, right? So projecting things onto other people, right? So my boss gives me all this extra work because, she hates me, or, this guy ignores me because he thinks I'm this. And basically a lot of the times we're just making this stuff up in our head. And what we don't realize is that as we're having those thoughts, we're projecting them out into the field and we're going to prove to ourselves that, yes, I was right. She doesn't like me because she's giving me all this work, and she's just going to keep giving you more work until you change, your thought about her, right? So what about the shoulda, woulda, coulda? I hate these words, right? They're so hopeless, right? I should have done this. I could have done that. Things like I will and I am, or I'm planning, right? To be more purposeful, right? Should, would, could is not purposeful. Let's see, emotion-based thinking, right? So these are really habits that a lot of us have, and I'm actually still working through a lot of these too. So things like, your self-worth, maybe you have a pattern of thinking that the self-talk of I'm worthless, I'm not valuable, I'm ugly, things like that, all those emotion-based things. That job is just too big for me, I can't handle it. Those are all emotion-based thinking habits. And they're just habits because we can change the thought. Guilt is another one, right? So guilt is huge, right? Guilt will keep you stuck and will, can cause you to die without living your purpose, without living your dream. I lost my job because I'm not good. I can't do the work because I'm not skilled enough. I got to put my family first. I can't have it all. I got to give up my dream for my husband or for my wife or for my kids, all this guilt-based stuff, it's got to go. Okay. And then everyone else is wrong, right? So when we're blaming others, right? So the projection, blaming others. So I think that's enough. I don't know if you guys had any other ones, right? But just recognizing and seeing, what is the pattern? What are my thoughts? What's the pattern that I'm producing, that I'm putting out into the field? All right, and then that's going to help with the next step, which is, okay, let's see. Choose a belief that the ideal version of you needs to believe to achieve your goal. Yeah. Oh, I love that, Nina. Yeah, so awareness is, the next step for awareness is, what are all the impacts, right? So really thinking about, it's not just the impact to you, but, the guilt of not, going after your dream for your kids, or, the resentment that can build between relationships where one person believes they have to give something up for the other, and then down the line, all that resentment builds up and it never needed to actually happen, right? So really paying attention to not just the impact it's having on you, but who else? Who else in your field is it affecting, right? Your family, your coworkers, the universe in general, right? Because of that butterfly effect. All right, let me see. I got a few notes here. Yeah, so, and again, the awareness is about, this can help you with prioritization, right? So if you're happily married and everything is awesome in your relationship and you don't have stress there, things are going good, you're not feeling that a lot of change is needed there, but, why do I have this feeling of overwhelm? Well, maybe it's at work. You want to really narrow down what is the root cause of, why the change can happen or what's going on, right? So you kind of want to, the awareness can help you to narrow down where to focus on. All right, and then again, I said, like I said a couple minutes ago, that it seems simplistic, but really introducing new thought patterns, and you don't have to, completely change everything. Just start with one thing. So I was able to create a miracle. I manifested a miracle with, and again, this is something small, with, I was addicted to Diet Coke since I was like a teenager or maybe even younger. And, several years ago, I was like, I don't even like this. This is not even, it wasn't so much that it wasn't healthy, but I was just over with it. I didn't want to drink it anymore. I was moving on. I was evolving into more healthy health focus. And I just decided one day, and I kind of put it out in the field, that I was done with it. And I kind of let it go. I didn't think much about it. And I don't really actually know what happened, but about, at one point, my daughter asked me, hey, do you want me to get your Diet Coke from the store? And I was like, a Diet Coke? I was like, oh my God, a Diet Coke? I haven't had a Diet Coke in like months. I totally, completely forgot about it. But when I went back and kind of reverse engineered it, what I discovered was that not only did I decide I didn't want to drink Diet Coke anymore, but I actually believed it, and I was able to cement that into my subconscious mind that I was done with it. And then it just happened. So when she asked me that and I realized it had been months since I had a Diet Coke, I was like, okay, I got to get to work on this stuff because I got more things to change, right, than just giving up Diet Coke. So, introducing new thought patterns, you start small. And then the more you can prove it to yourself, the more you'll believe it and the more it will get cemented in your subconscious mind, right? So look for things that you can start easy with, right? Start simple with. Let's see if I can get, all right, so anyone want to share any examples of that? Or something that they've overcome, like something small or maybe something big, just by changing a thought? Or maybe there was someone that, I hear this a lot now with my daughter, because she's in middle school, about, the drama with the kids. And I'm trying to coach her that, there's all different perspectives on people, right? You don't know what's going on with that person at home. You have no idea what their life is like, right? Don't project things on them. Let's see. Okay, Kenzie, funny because my shadow right now is junk food and alcohol. Ooh. Okay. Years ago, I gave up drinking coffee. I just said, I no longer drink coffee, and stopped overnight. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, see, so you were ready. Your mind, your body was ready to give it up. So timing, is important as well, right? So junk food and alcohol, right? So we're going to look at that, Kenzie. Okay. Which is okay, no judgment, there's nothing wrong with junk food and alcohol. I mean, I love my wine, but if this is something where you recognize it as an issue and you've narrowed it down to, hey, this is what, I'm using this as an excuse, or, my subconscious, right? My reptilian mind is like, hey, have some junk food, it's safer, right? Because it's used to that pattern. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, and then clearing the mind, body, emotional blocks. So let me just do a time check. Okay, 2:44. We're probably not going to have time for this one, but I wanted to kind of do an experiment. Okay, so for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys a visualization exercise where I'll walk you through, and this might be helpful for, I have to scroll up, but for the mom who posted about, getting the back pain with her son. So I'll send this to you. You can try it out and see if it helps, alleviate the pain. I was hoping to have more time to kind of do this exercise with you guys, but I'll send you the recording and the worksheet on how to do that. Okay, hey Liz, yeah, I'll make sure you get that. But basically, it's going to be a visualization where the 4 steps that we kind of just walk through, where we're going to actually go into that feeling place, like where you recognize it in your body, right? So you have this change, you've been stuck with it, you have this emotion, you've identified where it is in your body, and then we're going to do the exercise will help to clear that out, right? Okay, can you give a non-visual version for those of us who cannot visualize at all, please? Yes, I will get you different formats, that way you guys can all use it. So you get an audio, I think there's a handout. Yeah.
Will they be signing up with you on a link that they can opt in for you? Is that how you'll be sending it to them?
No, I don't, I want to just give that out for everybody who came today, so you don't have to opt into anything. All right, so I'm just going to, because I really wanted to do that as part of the class. So I'll make sure you guys get it.
We can post it on the replay. That would be.
Yeah, and I probably will give you a couple other things, Cindy, as well, that they can have without opting in for anything. Okay, so I apologize for that. I was hoping we would have more time. But again, choose your thoughts and choose to create your life on purpose, right? So again, these old beliefs or negative patterns, when we sit down and really, kind of drill down to where is this really coming from? Is this really mine? is this my mom's, identity, or is this the identity that I want to have? You can create it. You can create what you want. You can change your identity. I remember, I think it was like a couple of years ago, I was having a session with Karen, and I was so excited I got on the phone, and she's like, what's going on? I said, Karen, I need to have an identity crisis. And she's like, what do you mean you want to have one? I was like, I need to change. And she was just cracking up, because usually it's like, people are having an identity crisis. It was kind of like the opposite, right? I was like, I really need to become someone. This is not who I want to be, right? And so that's what, I have an Open G Center for human design people. So that's been an amazing journey to finally figure out how to create my own identity and not have to identify with really anything. I identify with what I want to identify with what my values are. Okay. Okay. All right. So some practical steps we can take, right, to be more on purpose. Okay. So I don't think, I know people really, well, especially from my corporate training days, right? So setting clear and decisive goals, a lot of times people are not, when you hear about, hey, we got to do some goal setting, or it's time to figure out, what are we going to do for the year? Lots of times, people roll their eyes and things like that. However, if you want to be on purpose and change things, you've got to get clear. You've got to get clarity around, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And then again, aligning them with, with your values and your priorities, right? So if you're working on things that you don't know why you're working on them, or you're having to do things that are not part of your value system, or you're being made to do things that are going against your value system, the more you misalign with that, the more likely you're going to lead to, the burnout, the frustration, the anger. You're going to get sick, things like that. So goal setting and being clear, right? Having the clarity, taking the time to sit down and really, really figure out what it is. So taking inspired action steps, right? So you want to break down your goals into smaller tasks that make sense, right? So again, take control of your calendar, figure out, make it a priority. And then, even if they are small tasks, or if you spend, a half an hour, let's say you want to change, you want to do more meditation, you want to connect, with more of your spiritual side, you don't have to go, on a week-long vacation to, Sedona, right? Just take small steps, and the more you practice, the more you learn, the more things you can check off your list, your confidence is going to grow. And kind of like what I mentioned before, the more you can practice and prove things to yourself, and, start to get the wheel moving towards the change, your confidence is going to grow, and that's going to help to feed the loop where you can get more stuff done. Right, so creating a daily routine that works and supports you. So again, for human design folks, I don't have the channel of rhythm, but you don't need a channel of rhythm to have a daily routine these days, right? There are plenty of apps and phones to help us stick and wake up, right? So again, it's about forming habits and being committed to the change. So finding a community or getting one-on-one support, right? So the human design and quantum alignment community is absolutely fantastic. If a lot of you guys are already part of that, but if you're new to this community, I have the links in the deck where you can kind of check out more, because for a lot of my journey, I did a lot of my work alone, and that was just part of my path. But now I'm ready for community, okay? So that was just my path where I had to do a lot of inner work by myself. But now I love the idea that I've been part of this community, and that, I love that we're able to get to come and share and teach, and I get to, try and help you guys, or try and help other folks. So yeah, experimenting and practicing, right? So I will send you guys the visualization, the meditation that you guys can try. And just practice and prove it to yourself, right? So just look at one of those negative thought patterns you have, switch it over to a positive, and just see what happens. See if you experience a different reality. See if you experience someone differently. This is probably kind of cool, like to find a power word to snap you back into consciousness if you feel like you're going down a negative spiral, right? So again, look at the change you wrote down on the paper, right? Figure out if it is aligned with your values, what's the impact, that it's having, is it long enough? Is enough enough? You really need to work on this now. Make it a priority. And then, if you find yourself headed towards the negative side of things, come up with a power word to kind of snap you back, right? So that can be really helpful because you're going to need a trigger, right? You need a way to break the cycle. Learning about human design, right? So I'm going to give you, guys, the link if you're new to this. Really, really, really short summary. But human design is like the most modern, awesome. Think of it as like, this is really doing it a disservice, like the most awesome, best personality test. That's the way I'll describe it for now. But if you're really looking to figure out, how to make better decisions, why maybe you do some of the things you do, why maybe you think the way you think sometimes, understanding your human design can clear that up for you really quickly. And then again, because a lot of this stuff, when we want to do things on purpose, you may have to do that inner work alone, right? So if you don't meditate, exploring different ways that you can meditate, journaling, energy healing, right? Techniques. So there's so many options. There's so many ways to get support and different things we can try. And and you'll just have to find, we have to find the things that, work best for us. I have still not been able to figure out a meditation routine. However, I think my journaling, when I do my journaling, I consider that part of my meditation because I'm focused and I'm getting things out, but I'm not, looking like a typical, or what you might think of the typical meditation practice, right? So let's see what else. Let me check the time. Okay. So in my experience over the last, 15 years, this is what I've come to conclude, and this is what has worked for me and what I want to share with you today. With all those things being said, you have to really decide to commit, and you've got to choose that, now's the time, and you're gonna make these changes, and you want to break that programming, you want to break that conditioning, you want to experience something new. You want to experience what that dream is in your head, or even if it's just to find a new job, right? Being brave to maybe make a change, maybe change careers, right? Exploring that. What could that be? What could that look like? So if you decide to trust that you really do create your own experience and that you can change it like almost in an instant, in the moment, and you take full control of your life experience, right? So I kind of mentioned where, you're not blaming other people, you're taking like full responsibility for whatever's going on in your life. And now you want to decide, okay, what am I going to do about it? Okay. So clearing the mind, body, emotional blocks. I'm actually doing some interesting work on learning more techniques about this. So that's why I wanted to share the first one with you guys, right? So, and again, if you look through some past quantum alignment shows, Karen she's so amazing. She talks through the whole connection between the thoughts, the feelings, and how those negative emotions can get stored in your body. And, that's where you get the backache, right? And you don't have a backache because your back is broken or because your back is sick. You have a backache because that's where the negative feeling connected with that emotion, and it's storing it in that part of your body. So there are numerous ways to clear that. One thing we talk a lot about in quantum alignment system or human design is through the emotional, EFT, using, essential oils, right? That's what, a lot of people use that. Flower essences, all the energy, things like Reiki, things like that. So there are ways to clear those out. Even hypnosis, NLP, lots of different methods that But again, everyone's unique. You got to find the one that works for you. And then really just trusting, in the universe, whatever that means to you, whether it's, whatever your idea of that, source, God, whatever that is for you. And this was a big, leap for me, was to finally just let go and know that no matter what's going on, I'm going to be supported wherever I am right now. That's where I'm meant to be. But I'm on a journey, and I'm going to be wait for that inspiration and stick with my values, stick with my goals, act every day, build my confidence, and just keep moving forward, right? And so this is kind of what I've learned the last 15 years or so, is that we actually can create our own miracles. We can change things for ourselves, right? So we don't need mommy to get us a new chair like that little girl. Like, get up and let's get our own chair. That's kind of where I'm at like right now. Okay, so I know we're running out of time. I wish I had more time to go through this a little bit deeper, but if you want to go deeper, get support and find some awesome resources, or just explore more about the quantum alignment system, or, I did mention about human design. If you go to the website, you can find tons of information, videos, courses about, and free resources on how you can learn more about this, and then joining the community on Facebook. So those are the links, and I think Cindy can help. We're going to be posting a lot of links after this. And then I do have a couple options for you guys if you wanted to. I know we don't have a lot of time together today, but if you felt connected, or you want to have kind of like a one-on-one chat with me, just connect with me on Messenger. We can set something up on my calendar. I do love working one-on-one. I love having VIP days where I can focus one-on-one with a client to get through, a top challenge that you're having. And then another thing that I've been working on, I've got a 6-week beta group coaching program coming soon, and it's going to be completely focused on creating an experience where it's not just, reading and learning a course. It's going to be an experience where you come in with, we have these changes we need to make. I've got this thing stuck in my back, or, I want to release this. And so that's what we're going to work on, right? So figuring out what are the goals, getting clarity, where do we want to be, what's stopping us, how do we clear it out of our body, how do we change our mind, become more resilient, become courageous, and then there'll be plenty of support and, accountability and things like that. So I will make sure that I get that out to Cindy as well. So the main thing to know is that, we're all human, we're all on this journey together, and that, you're not alone, right? Everyone, I really do believe in the power of community. And so, I hope this resonated with you guys. I don't know if we have any time for more questions. It is 3:00.
Well, there was one question that Janet asked. Do you do individual hour sessions on specific subjects one-on-one?
Yeah, so hey Janet, just reach out to me and then we can chat about it. I do hourly sessions, or the VIP day, or other types of programs. But I really feel like for the specific change, when you're really stuck and there's something that's critical, or it's making you sick, and it's something that needs to be addressed right away, having a day of focused support can really be helpful for things like that. And then again, another option being part of the group coaching is where you can really, learn from others, get some bonding going, share the experience, and help each other through it.
Now, on Facebook, there was a conversation mostly about when you were talking, and this is really quick, but when you're talking about responding or going in, just briefly, the different types. It's true, when you're doing it, you can still take inspired action no matter what your type, but you're making, is there something that you can bring on that? Or no, you don't understand my question?
I'm sorry. One more time. I can stay on a little bit longer, but if people have to drop, but I can stay a little longer.
Well, it was just because there was a couple of questions in chat too. How does goal setting work? The one question in chat was for quad right variables, but another one I mean, how does goal setting work if you're a reflector? Or how would goal set, if you're supposed to, or as a projector, if you're supposed to wait for the invitation for a goal, or as a generator, if you're supposed to
Right.
wait till
Yes,
something outside
yes.
of
Okay, I
yourself.
got you now. Okay, yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah, so it's crazy, the whole patience thing and learning to wait, so that was like most of us and, we first come to human design, as a manifesting generator, as a generator, projector, well, I know how it affected me, right? So, and thank God I found human design, because I probably would, I don't know if I'd be alive right now. And I'm totally being serious, because I was totally burning out and not headed in a good direction. But what I learned from that, and what Karen told me specifically in her mentoring and coaching, was that, while you're waiting, that doesn't mean you're not doing anything, right? So there's always stuff to do to prepare, right? So for example, I think there was some examples about, what was a good example here? Like waiting for, or moving between jobs, that kind of thing, right? So let's say you're a projector and you're in between jobs, and you really want to follow your design, so you're going to wait for the you're going to wait for the invitation. You're not going to go out and apply for work, right? So that's like a typical example, right? Things that you can be doing while you're waiting, you can still set goals, right? You can still put out into the field the thoughts that are going to attract back to you, what you're looking for. Just because you're not, picking up the phone calling recruiters doesn't mean that you can't sit down and say, hey, this is where I want to go. Hey, this is what I'm expecting. Hey, who can I have friends, right? You can, if you, a lot of times I think with projectors, they don't realize that they've already been invited. And so you may have to kind of, and that's what I do when I work, I attract a lot of projectors for some reason. I think it's to help manage me, because I was all over the place. But I think the trick with a lot of us, with everybody really, is to look at where you are and kind of reverse engineer, like, how did I get here? Because I know for me, as a manifesting generator, there were definitely decisions I made that were wrong, right? Where I didn't wait, I didn't get the confirmation, where my ego and my reptilian brain came up and said, do it, do it, do it. And I didn't follow my response. So I don't know if that's helpful. I love this idea. I think it's a great topic to do another talk on. I don't know if we have to do it on this session, but maybe I could put something together around that specifically for the different types. That might be cool.
And yeah. I do think that some of them, Karen has done something like that, but it's always good to have other people's perspective. Okay. But I'm not seeing any other questions.
Okay.
So thank you. And I put they have your website, and then they just will be updating the replays both on Facebook, it goes on YouTube, and it's also on the blog with the things that Tina was promising.
All right. Thanks so much, Cindy. Yeah, so I will get you the links, and I'll get I'll get everything to Cindy, and then she'll post everything up for you guys. Kenzie, I did see your question about the quadrite variables, so I actually know what that is. So I I will get, or you could just, if you're on Facebook, just message me on Facebook, and then we can walk through any of the questions you have. I'll go through the chat, and I'll try and get, if there's questions that I missed, I will make sure to get back to you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.